I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Panerai Luminor 1950 Submersible Amagnetic PAM 389, 47 millimeters in brushed titanium in the more complex curved 1950 spec case. You can see, and if you like, purchase this PAM 389 on our website, watchyouwant.com. And if you like these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. This PAM 389 wears every millimeter of its 47. And the bottom line is, with the 1950 case and the chunkier proportions of the Luminor Submersible, it's an unmistakable presence, a true tool watch in every sense. It's not just an authentic ISO 6425 compliant diver, it's also an ISO 764 compliant anti-magnetic watch. And while that standard is met by many, this one goes far above and beyond, being anti-magnetic to what's known as 40,000 amperes per meter as opposed to the 4,800 amperes per meter of the ISO standard. So above and beyond in that respect, it's also above and beyond the standard Panerai Luminor. When this watch debuted in 2013, it was the sensation of the Panerai 2013 new model year, a distinctive combination of brushed, almost a sort of gunmetal gray titanium with dramatic polished outer diving bezel and a first ever ceramic insert on a Panerai dive watch bezel. It's a striking and individualistic look. Now, I've had requests for this watch on our channel, so I'm always happy to honor a user request, and I want to do justice to this watch because I will admit that this is one of my personal favorite Panerai models. I also want to give a shout out to the titanium construction because although it definitely dwarfs my wrist and it is a highly technical oversized sports watch, it's not heavy. It doesn't feel like it's weighing me down because the titanium construction is between 40 and 50% lighter than steel. The watch wears far smaller, eyes closed, than 47 millimeters. The other advantage from an ergonomic standpoint is that although it is a submersible and it is a 1950 case, it's still a Panerai Luminor, which is to say it's about as wide as it is tall, so the cushion case sits lightly on the wrist. Now, it's never going to clear a dress cuff, but let's face it, with a watch like this, you're either wearing short sleeves or none at all. And the bottom line is Panerai does make the most of the tool watch aesthetic here. I feel that the PAM 389, from an aesthetic standpoint, represents where Panerai can really take its brand, where it can evolve its models without sort of messing with the fundamental formula, not detracting from the clarity of its uncluttered, highly legible dials, not adding unnecessary complexity, and not straying too far from the company's origins as a utility watch. The PAM 389 introduces a completely original concept and execution without diluting the essential Panerai guiding knowledge or the underlying DNA of the brand. Now you can see it is a full stick index, in this case all applied. You could see the matte basic dial is sort of a unobtrusive backdrop to a few unconventional elements, notably the use of 3 separate color tones. You have that matte black, you have the sort of key lime of the Luminova elements on the indices, and of course on the loomed plots of the hands. And then finally you have this semi-patina Luminor Submersible and Panerai Automatic script, which is matched by the color of the font used on the monotone conforming date wheel, and then also echoed in the stitched calfskin strap that's included with the watch. So it's remarkably coherent in blending elements that are fine and upscale with elements that are rugged, utilitarian. Very clever. It is a Panerai Luminor and of the 1950 variety, so you get this more complex case curvature. You can see that it's not the so-called tuna can of the Betterini or 1990s era. The original 44 millimeter was much more of a block. This one, which is more true to history and more aesthetically pleasing, looks more like the 1950s era Panerai watches in that the curves are complex. It almost has an elegance to it, unintentionally, as these watches were designed for functional purposes, but nevertheless it does achieve that sort of no-nonsense grace with the compound curves. Likewise, it features the modern refinements to the Panerai Luminor. Namely, you get the quick release lugs so that by depressing these pushers on the back ends of the lugs, you can simply slide the retaining bars out of the lugs without any need to risk screwdrivers in proximity to the brushed titanium. Second, you have the roller bearing inset within the iconic device protecting the crown. Now that little cam lobe that's coming into contact with the crown head That has a little roller built into it. I'll see if I can catch it in the light, but you can see it better in the photos on our website, watchyouwant.com. But there is a roller bearing in there that reduces the friction when the cam lobe comes into contact with the crown itself. Just makes for a more pleasing tactile sensation when locking down that signature device protecting the crown. Still a marvel of engineering and a Panerai signature. It allows you to unlock the crown for easy winding and adjustments without having to screw it out. Closed, it's as secure 300 meters, 1,000 feet as a screw-down Rolex Submariner with the trip-lock crown, but so much easier to use when your hands are sweaty or gloved. Likewise, with the full all-aspect crown guard, it doubles as a more effective shield for the crown, as there's no angle where you can directly contact the crown with an errant blow. Now, the ceramic helps Panerai double down on the notion of durability and ruggedness, because the ceramic itself is nearly scratch-proof. I'm not going to say scratch-proof, I'm going to say nearly, because it's about as tough as sapphire for practical purposes. So if you understand just how scratch-resistant sapphire is, ceramic brings that measure of durability and aesthetic longevity to the bezel itself. That's a nice thing because oftentimes the Achilles heel of the dive watch has been the propensity of the bezel to become scratched on its PVD portions in older references, especially old Rolex and Omega references. They age quickly. Ceramic solves that problem so it doesn't wind up looking like the fender of a battered New York City taxi. And this one's been nuanced just a little bit with the elements of polished metal sticking through the ceramic. They really pop in contrast to the matte black backdrop. It's beautifully done, and if you can see the flank of the watch, the exterior of the metal bezel itself, titanium like the case, has been rendered in a contrasting polished finish, so it really sets itself apart from the straight graining brushed finish of the case. Well done, subtle, really adds just another element of nuance to the watch without being self-consciously styled. Now, I also want to talk about the movement, because I spoke about the ease of unlocking the crown with the device protecting the crown, but when you do unlock the crown, you gain access to Panerai's caliber 9000 manufacture movement. It debuted in 2009, and what it is a 3-day power reserve, automatic bidirectional winding in-house movement designed and built by Panerai in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. This one was designed to offer both more durability, more longevity between windings, as well as user-friendly features that previous Panerai Unitas and Valjoux-based calibers simply didn't offer. First and foremost, I want to call out the quick adjustment feature for time zone jumpers who may be traveling around the world. You adjust the date using the quick change on the hour hand, and you note that you can use it to drive the hour hand as well as the date backward and forward in increments without actually stopping the balance. You can see that I'm moving the hour hand and the small seconds continue to tick. So you're not going to affect the timing or precision of the watch, nor are you going to displace the minute hand in the process of adjusting the watch to accommodate forward or backward jumps through time zones. With the hour hand coupled to the date, it gives you the convenience of throwing your watch fore and aft as you travel without actually affecting precision. Very clever. Likewise, with a 3-day movement, this is the kind of watch that you can put down for a day or two. As severe as its aesthetic is, you may not want to wear this one for the most formal of occasions. The good news is it's not going to run down in the interim. What it is, however, going to do is withstand any blow that the case and the crown guard itself can withstand, because with a full free-sprung balance, it's very tough. Now, this movement, unlike some of the heritage movements inherited from ETA, was designed specifically for the way people wear their Panerai watches today. So very tough, very shock resistant, and of course, let's get back to that amagnetic notion, because unlike the other caliber 9000s in other Panerai watches, this one features a soft iron paramagnetic Faraday cage. Yes, paramagnetic. It actually conducts magnetic fields, and the reason it's not anti-magnetic itself, the watch is, the cage isn't, is because it actually grabs and conducts the magnetic field lines around the movement rather than allowing them to pass through. That's why you want soft iron, which is highly magnetic, in an amagnetic or anti-magnetic watch. Now, you know that Rolex's Milgauss is pretty much the standard of reference in this category. However, while ISO 764 compliant in both cases, Milgauss and Luminor Submersible PAM 389, only the 389 is both an anti-magnetic watch and an ISO compliant dive watch, so advantage Panerai. If you want a sense of how they compare in terms of anti-magnetic limits, Well, this one is anti-magnetic to 40,000 amperes per meter, which equates to about 500 Gauss. Naturally, the Milgauss is resistant to 1 Tesla or 1,000 Gauss, Milgauss. So the Milgauss wins in terms of absolute anti-magnetism, but the PAM 389, only the second Panerai anti-magnetic watch after the PAM 92, is the more versatile and, in my opinion, more classically styled timepiece. Granted, it's a modern, oversized sports watch, but with no electric, blue, orange, or green accents, without any gimmicks to grab the eye. This is a watch that's just well-balanced, handsome, and honest about its purpose. Anti-magnetic, scratch-resistant, light on the wrist, tough in water. This is the kind of watch that you could wear for any active lifestyle application. It may just be the most Panerai you can get for your money. And in as much as it doesn't dilute the essential look, feel, or aura of the Panerai Luminor, it beautifully integrates these nuanced elements into the traditional formula, which is why the PAM 389, in my opinion, is an absolute winner. You can see it, and if you like it, you can buy it on our website, watchyouwant.com.